Continue with a Midrash, a Jewish legend. Those of you who've been around Beth Adam and ourjewishme.org for some time know that the word Midrash is the Hebrew word which means Jewish story, Jewish legends. Rabbis have been writing them for generations. And here at Beth Adam, we have made that part of our approach to celebrating and observing the high holidays. We read them at other times as well. They are based, the ones that you will hear throughout these high holidays, the ones that are read tonight, tomorrow, and Yom Kippur, are all original Jewish legends based upon or inspired by older Jewish texts. We are going to read this high holiday season the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where God is going to destroy a city and Abraham argues with him. We're going to have a lot of conversations in the next several days about that story and other stories related to it, including perhaps a story where Abraham didn't argue so much. So we're going to bring a lot of things together. This Midrash, this Jewish legend that I'm about to read, was inspired by older Jewish legends that have already been written, have existed, and this is a retelling and an amplification of what other rabbis have written. Never having been here before, the stranger was confused. It was a luxurious city with grasses as green as emeralds and streams and lake full of fish. Trees sagged beneath the weight of luscious fruit. Everywhere she walked, it was clear that the residents of the town had more than they needed. No resident went hungry. No resident knew want. She had heard rumors that the streets were paved of gold, and though they were not, she understood why it was said that here in Sodom and Gomorrah, there were riches beyond imagination and resources that would never be depleted. Streets paved with gold? No, but wealth beyond measure. The stranger was frightened and confused by what she now saw. A crowd had gathered. They had formed a circle around one of their own, a resident of the town. She was on her knees. Her shirt had been stripped from her back, and she was being beaten with a cane, whipped, struck without mercy by a leader of the town, and each time the cane struck her back, the crowd chanted, "This is for what you have done." Repeatedly, the cane found its mark, and over and over again, the crowd chanted, "This is for what you have done! This is for what you have done!" The woman wailed in agony and slumped into despair. The longer the beating went on, the louder the crowd became, and the harder the blows hit. The stranger was repulsed but transfixed by what she saw. What crime had this woman committed that she deserved such a beating, wondered the stranger. She looked around to see if she could understand why this punishment was being meted out. As she looked about the crowd, she saw a young child at the edge of the crowd weeping and begging the crowd to stop. "Beat me instead," cried the child. "Oh, your turn will come," said one of the adults. The stranger couldn't believe her ears or her eyes. A child to be lashed and a wooden bin beaten by a mob of men and women who on any other day would have been eating the most luscious of foods and drinking the most expensive wine. The stranger walked over to the child, and as the stranger approached, the child put her arms up to protect herself, assuming that the woman was about to beat her, as the mob was beating the woman in the center of the circle. "Do not worry, child. I will not beat you. I will protect you. But please, tell me why this is happening. Why are the residents of town beating one of their own, and why have you been threatened with punishment as well? Tell me, child, what has happened?" Through her tears, the child began to speak. "I'm not from here," she said. "My family and I journeyed near this town. We were journeying near this town when my father fell ill. He didn't recover. He died on the outskirts of town, and we buried him there. And we had no food or water. And my mother's despair was so great, she couldn't move. All she wanted to do was stay by my father's grave, so I alone came looking for help, for food, for water. This town, it rises from the ground and gleams in the sunlight. So I came here, and it was clear when I arrived that there was food and water, and we would be saved. This kind woman, this woman who was being beaten, she was the first person I encountered. The stranger was more confused than she was before. Go on, my child. Why is this woman you met being beaten? What did she do to you that the others of the town are punishing her? Did she reject you? Did she deny you help? Did she cast you out? No, said the child. None of that. She helped. The stranger didn't know what to say and didn't know how to respond, only to repeat, she helped you? Yes, said the child. She helped me. When I approached her and told her my story, her eyes filled with tears. She understood my pain and she recognized my fear. She told me, don't worry. I will feed you. I will give you water. I will help you. We will go together and fetch your mother and bring her back here and help her as well. She was kind, and she was gentle, and she was caring. She took me by the hand and led me back to her home and fed me there, and then we were to leave the city. She packed some provisions, some food, and some water so we could feed my mother when we found her. As we were about to leave the city, someone saw us. They shouted, they yelled, do not go, do not leave, do not help. But this woman didn't stop. She didn't turn around. She kept walking, as did I. But soon, a crowd from the town came after us. They grabbed us. They grabbed her and they grabbed me, and though we fought, we couldn't win. They dragged her back here and they threw her to the ground. And an important man who all the town bowed to stood above and declared in a loud voice, for your crime, you are to be lashed. But what crime? Asked the stranger. Helping, said the child. Helping? Said the stranger. You must be wrong, child. No one is beaten for helping. So the stranger pushed her way into the middle of the crowd, grabbed the arm of the man beating the woman, and shouted, stop! Stop! Stop beating this woman. Tell me why. What has she done? Why do you beat her so? And without hesitation, the people said, helping. Helping. She helped this child and she was going to help her mother, said one of the crowd. And if she was going to go out and help the mother, others, strangers, would learn of this and they would come here. Beggars, poor, the needy would come and expect us to help as well. Here in this place, we help only our own. The stranger need not come here. The wanting will find no compassion in this place. As the stranger began to shout that there was no justice here, that this town and its inhabitants were corrupt, the town people grabbed her and the child, and they began to beat them both.